Good evening and happy playoff basketball alongside Sports Director Trayvon Miles and Brandon Bossert. I'm Julius Sador.
That's exactly right. Welcome into the only live and local show devoted to all sports here on the Eastern Shore.
That's right, and playoff hoops in full swing.
Yes.
We got an entire show devoted to it.
Yep.
A lot of stuff to break down. We're going to start things off in the 1A, a big matchup in Cambridge with two teams that actually saw each other in a very close game, early on in the season.
Yes, and it was a really good game. The Vikings of CSD, the top dog in the 1A East, but the Crabbers from Crisfield in the 1A East Region 2 final. This game yesterday, and Crisfield came in with the swagger about themselves. First points in the game. How about a chin check from Christian Waters and an and one and a flex to the home crowd? Why not? Back the other way, Dejuan Jackson taking his man to the rack. Going to get bumped and get an and one himself. He's getting up and calling it out. CSD keeping pace early on. A little later, Rykel Waters getting the ball on the wing. Strong take, finish with the left. Crisfield leading by one after the first quarter. No time running out before the half, guys. Watch this layup from Bijan Ashley.
Wow.
That's just what he does.
He
is a
Vikings
player.
down one at halftime.
That's right, second half now. Crisfield going on an 11-0 run. Midway through the third, Jerron Smith splashes one from outside. Then a little later on, Smith to Waters for another three-pointer. The field breaks it open in the second half. And guys, they go on to win back-to-back regional titles, 64-46.
The first matchup, we wasn't together as a team like that, and we were just getting a new coach and all that, and getting used to it. So we just had to pick it up and just stay together. We gained more confidence, moving the ball more, and getting together as a team.
All right, so we now know that Crisfield will be taking on Edmondson tomorrow, and obviously they won the coin toss.
Yes.
So they have to come to Crisfield.
Yes, that was huge.
That?
Yeah, that was huge. So both teams, if people don't know out there, finished with a 16-4 regular season record. So this is one thing that could have potentially hurt Crisfield. They could have been taking a 2.5 or 2:45 trip to Baltimore to Edmondson to
That's
a really
huge
tough
swing.
gym. Yes, instead they get Edmondson coming down here. I'm sure those Baltimore City kids have never been to Crisfield. Never thought they would come to Crisfield.
Capital.
Exactly.
That's right.
And we'll have to go, and Edmondson will have to get here early to get into that small gym, so definitely advantage. I thought that the Parkside game might come back to haunt Crisfield this late in the season with them potentially losing out on a coin toss, but it turns out it didn't happen.
Right, and on a Saturday, it may not be as difficult as it would be on a weeknight for Edmondson coming over.
That's
but
fair.
Congratulations to Crisfield, really, because it's been an up and down season. There have been times where Crisfield's been called into question in the Bayside, and here they are.
By us, too. By myself as well.
Championships. And they're a couple wins away from a state championship.
Well, I think it's fair to say the Cambridge game that we saw was really when we started questioning Crisfield, because we thought they would go over to Cambridge and win that game easily.
And then Parkside happened.
And then Parkside happened, and there was a lot of questions with that team early on, but they've really shaped into a solid playoff contender. Also should note, last year, Crisfield was the one that made the trip and pulled off a win after doing that in the playoffs. So it is possible, but of course we're rooting for the hometown people in the graveyard tomorrow.
Exactly right.
There we go. Well, Crisfield, not the only team looking to advance to a state quarterfinal game. Y-High last night at home looking to stay perfect.
Yeah, guys, I don't know if you remember, but back in 2018, this Y-High team came in undefeated against, and they fell hard against North Carolina, a team that almost ended up winning it all. So
that's true.
Last night, the Tribe tried to avoid that at all costs, hosting Kendron Wayman and the North Carolina Bulldogs. Kendron was actually on that team that upset Y-High back in 18, but it was not to be so this time around. Two guys that weren't on that team, Jason Handy, Antoine Wilson. Handy laying one in there, and then Handy, little pull-up later on, and then check out Wilson a little later on. He's going to connect. The big man pulls up. He had 16 points in this one, but the Bulldogs had some defense show up. Handy going for the dunk. Leroy Fitchett there with the block.
Right. Yep, that's right, but Leroy Fitchett there with the emphatic dunk. And then we're going to see Y-High just continue to take control of this game against North Carolina. Turnovers, and then Wilson capitalizing with the bucket. 22 points for Wilson as Y-High, the regional champs again, and they move on to the Elite Eight.
All right, so the only other boys Bayside team in action last night, Ken Island falling in Anne Arundel County 58-56 to Northeast. Ken Island, this is a game that they led in this game. They led late in this game. They had a chance to win it. when the game was tied with 5 seconds left on the clock, but instead they turn it over.
Yeah, a crushing loss to end the season
with 5
right there.
seconds to go, and they actually lose at the buzzer. So a crushing, absolutely crushing loss for Cole Cradaville and company.
That's right, and that's all the boys' action for right now. Let's move over to the girls tonight. We saw a 2A battle here in Salisbury. Parkside welcoming in Westlake. Let's cut straight to the end of the third. The Rams battling for those offensive boards. Jackie Wright going to put the ball in the basket and the foul, and Parkside down after 3. But Westlake had an answer. Leah Johnson knocking down this three right here. And then off the missed free throw, Wright going to grab this board. Her shot is short, but Amanda Ballard collects and deposits for 2. But Westlake with yet another 3, this time from Bria Hoggins. Then Taylor Brown battling down low. She's going to kiss this one off the glass.
That's pretty.
Hey,
that's
this team came here to play tonight. Parkside gets the ball into Wright right here, who makes the move, banks it in. Wright had 28 tonight. This one came down to the final seconds. Parkside down 3. Wright going to hoist this 3, but it bounces off the back iron. Parkside's incredible season, guys, comes to an end in the Elite 8. And here's head coach Warren White after this game.
It's been a magical season for these kids, you know. We have nothing to hang our heads about. Those kids get out and they left it on the floor tonight. That was a good basketball team. Like I told them, don't worry about the record. They played some tough schools over there, a lot of 4A schools. They were very physical, it was a real physical game. But I tell you what, these young ladies showed that Easton Shore can play basketball. But I'm just so proud that kids didn't give up. They kept battling. And I think we got down to the wire. We had a lot of shots at the end. Free throws, either way it could have went. It just didn't tonight. Hats off to them. They won the basketball game. I wish them the best.
Classy guy right there. Easton in action as well. Marriott's Ridge taking the trip from Howard County. They played hard. Morgan Lee nailing a 3. The Warriors having their way on the offensive end. Lily Osborne getting to the rack. Second quarter, reigning North Player of the Year, Maya Jeter, turning it on. 9 points in the frame, including 3 right there. Easton up 6 at halftime, but here come the Mustangs. Emma Morath getting the and 1. A few possessions later, Kendall Bryant, she's knocking down the 3 from the elbow, but early in the fourth, Easton goes up 12. Look at Jeets right here. Push off a little bit, step back 3, splash. Easton leading by 12. But how about Morath? She had her way in the fourth quarter, owning the paint.
Wow.
And they would turn this into a 2-point game.
Feed her down low.
42 seconds left. This is what settled it. Osborne here, going to get a hand on the ball, get the steal, take it the other way. She's finishing with 1, and Easton is headed to state semifinals for the first time, I believe, since 1994, 52-47 over Marriott's Ridge.
Congratulations to Easton. And over in 1A, Snow Hill falling today to CMIT North, 77-27. But we've got a lot to celebrate here tonight, guys.
Yeah, well, that's not one of them. But congratulations to Snow Hill. That is truly one of the better stories of this time of the year. Snow Hill girls went 5-15, I believe, throughout the season, won 3 playoff games. Yeah. So they almost matched their total in the season.
They were a game away from going across the bridge. So very good right there. Yes. Got to talk about tomorrow, though.
Yes.
All right, because tomorrow I think it's fair to say it's Super Saturday because we're looking at 2 big games, one in Crisfield, one in Salisbury with Y-High.
Yeah, tomorrow is huge. And I think it's the first time that we can ever say that 2 Baltimore City teams are coming to the shore. I've been around here forever, and I can say that this is the first time that I think this has ever happened because of the reseeding, obviously.
Right.
But it is a huge day for not only Y-High and Crisfield, but I think at the Eastern Shore at large to show that they can compete with these teams, man. Tomorrow's big.
And I think we have a very good chance of seeing both of these teams crossing over the bridge in the Final Four next week, which that's awesome. That's awesome to see right there, seeing 2 teams go across the bridge. But I just also want to mention that we also had #1 seeds in the girls' brackets in 2A and 3A as well, and we saw 2A and 3A teams hosting teams from across the bridge as well. So that's 4 different times that we've seen teams coming over across the bridge here to Delmarva. So that's a great accomplishment
already. And I think the reseeding showed that. And I think the reseeding benefited Westlake a little bit. Like Coach White said, they've been playing against 4A teams all year.
Right.
And that's normally a game you would see across the bridge. So what they're trying to do is eliminate those big-time blowouts when you get across the bridge.
Are you a fan of the reseeding after seeing the way it worked out?
I am right now. People are complaining a little bit online about the distance
I saw that.
the teams were traveling, and that surely did make up a lot of frustration to people. But I think you get better matchups. You'll get better matchups, and we'll see. That remains to be seen with state quarterfinals coming up.
So just can't wait for tomorrow and see if Crisfield and Y High can take care of business and move on to the Final Four.
Tomorrow is going to be interesting. We're going to have predictions later on in the show.
Okay, I like
That's going to do it for the Maryland side of things. When we return, we're going to Delaware. DIAA boys and girls tournaments getting serious. That and more when DSI returns.
I'm Christian Waters.
I'm Javen Smith.
We're from Crisfield High School, and you're watching Delmarva Sports Insiders.